All right, Peter.
How are you, buddy?
What's up, man?
Good to see
How
you,
are
man.
you?
Good. Yeah.
Good to see you. So, hey, listen, you're fairly new to the partnership. We've had a long-standing partnership with HPE. It's been fantastic for us in terms of growth and all of the things that we bring to our customers to make them successful. Well, look, I want to hear your perspective. What do you think? How's everything going?
So, I mean, let me start off by saying, what an event, right? I mean, you guys have certainly come a long way, right? I remember going to .next many years back, sneaking in as a product manager, standing and manning the booth, and this has really grown up, right? I was super impressed with Rajiv's messaging yesterday. The number of customers here is just phenomenal, right?
Absolutely.
But to answer your question, I've come into the relationship as the owner of the relationship lately, fairly recently in HPE.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of things that really strikes me, right? I mean, the growth, and you touched on it yourself. There's just such a tremendous opportunity. And some of this is obviously market conditions. Some of this is based on, just the fact that you guys are doing really, really good work. But also, I take a lot of heart in the amount of just joint customers that we have, whether they're coming from your side of the fence, whether they're coming from our side of the fence, and just how the teams are working together and how they continue to, frankly, focus on the things that actually matter in terms of delivering just a phenomenal customer experience.
Absolutely.
And then, understanding and being grateful for the fact that we have so many customers that are willing to trust their business to, myself and to you.
Yeah, that's right. So look, we've got a lot of cool stuff going on. We're taking the partnership to the next level.
We are indeed.
Something I'm very excited about is we've always been labeled as DX with HPE, and with your leadership, we've been moving down this path of being mainstream within HPE. What does that mean? Help our viewers understand.
Yeah, I mean, so listen, the key here is that, it is for most startups, right? You start out by building something that's fairly focused, and you build that typically on a set of appliances. And then as you go through a maturation process, and I think Rajiv hit on this yesterday himself, going Nutanix is ready to go mainstream.
That's right.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that. And that's why I actually think that the move from DX to DL, though that others would lead you to believe that it's HP is sort of divesting, and it's they're no longer dedicated. It's actually quite the opposite. It's a huge vote of confidence, because what it allows us to do is to take the Nutanix experience, combine it with the HPE experience, which frankly, combined with services and all the other things that we layer on this, continues to be evident in our customer base as the best-in-class experience there is for Nutanix. And we're now moving that away from being sort of with guardrails on, and going, well, no. We have a world-class winning portfolio that serves anywhere from 25 to 45% of the market, depending on where you're at. And we want to bring Nutanix to that, so that Nutanix is not sort of oh yeah, and then we also have this. This is a vote of confidence, both in the maturity of your product, maturity of the process, engineering engagement, all those sort of things. And I'm going to be curious to see when others follow in that footstep, because it is a fairly bold move, to be quite honest with you.
It is. And look, I mean, from my perspective, being more deeply integrated and embedded within HPE is a very strong sign of the trust and confidence you have in the partnership. So thank you. I mean, your leadership in this area has been fantastic.
And it's interesting, and I just may add to that, is I look at the two engineering departments, because let's be very clear, right? I mean, we build product, and so at the end of the day, there's a bunch of engineers that goes out and makes magic happen. And the level of integration between those two organizations, the level that they talk together, spend time together every single day, figuring out how to take the best of your portfolio, the best of ours, basically combine those together. That's ultimately, at the end of the day, what to me makes me excited, because once again, it's one of the stories about how HPE continues to lead in a sea of followers.
Oh, that is fantastic. So listen, I'm very impressed by your technical astuteness, if that's a word. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm super impressed by your comprehensive understanding of all of the moving parts, how Nutanix fits into that, how Nutanix can be better positioned for the future with HPE. I used to be the customer in my prior life, and AI is the new thing.
It is, indeed.
And it's exciting and scary at the same time, because the transformation that's associated with it, customers are not really sure what to do. And then there's the ROI. Because you got to answer, at the end of the day, it's got to translate to revenue and something meaningful for those
Someone's
companies.
going to pay for the party.
So we're embarking on that journey together as well.
Yes, we are.
I'd love to get your perspective on how does Nutanix fit into this ecosystem and the value that we can deliver to our customers.
So, yeah, I want to break this down sort of kind of like in a couple of different ways, right? First and foremost, yes, AI is a buzzword right now, but let's also be very clear, we've had AI for like 20 years, right?
Absolutely.
You walk into any factory around the world, there's a camera that takes a picture of like the product as it comes down the line, it analyzes it, that's AI.
When I heard about it, I said the same thing, I'm like, wait a minute.
And so I'm like, okay, but what is clearly new in this context is the generative piece, right? And the generative piece sort of kind of like breaks down three ways. There's an actual training, which is really, building the actual LLMs.
Yes.
Very few people are going to get involved in that because, frankly, that's already been built.
Yeah.
Or there's very little left to build. Sure, there's still some regional small language models and what have you not, but in all reality, the focus is shifting to the second part, which is the tuning, where you take these language models, you combine it in a process that we call RAG, with your own enterprise or your company's data so it can actually speak your language. That's valuable as well, and there's a lot of investment going into that space, and for certain customers that will make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously where the rubber meets the road, which is the inferencing part. And I was actually very impressed with the maturity of thought from Nutanix in terms of saying, listen, we don't want to play in the training, right? That's, no one's going to buy another $2 billion worth of GPUs and put them up and hope someone comes.
Yeah.
Right? There's might be some activities in the tuning kind of environment, but frankly, that's probably going to be in many cases a consulting-driven kind of like thing based on what your use case is. Where the market is going to go is into the last piece, which is really the inferencing. And you guys have taken a very mature approach with this, because you're going down a path of basically agentic AI.
That's right.
Which is, listen, most people don't know how to implement this. Even some of the best tech houses in the world are still grappling
Absolutely
with it.
right, yeah.
And ultimately, the only way that the ROI comes to fruition is when the runtime actually rolls out in something that is consumable.
Yes.
Right? Give me a chatbot, give me a support agent. For that matter, give me a agent that can read my email, that can, in some cases, we're going to see AI bots that are going to meetings for you.
Yeah,
but all of those things are things that needs to be packaged in a consumable format, and that needs to be fundamentally run as agents. And the fact that Nutanix is focusing on that is something that excites me, because now we're actually realizing value and we're delivering it.
Yeah.
And so for me, that is the key part here. And the agentic whole approach to that and the talk inside of Nutanix on that is spot on.
Absolutely, and as we learn more and we do more together, I'm excited. Look, what makes our partnership even more meaningful is that we're going to learn from both angles. You're going to learn from a hardware perspective. We'll learn from a software perspective.
Absolutely.
There are going to be specific use cases and problems that we're going to solve, and we're going to collectively share, and that's just going to allow us to even deliver more value to the customers.
And to be quite honest with you, this is one of the main reasons why I directed the team to basically move us off as we started the conversation with why are you moving from DX to DL? And it's frankly because as these use cases start to mature, some of them is going to happen in the cloud, some of them are going to happen in your core data center, some of them are going to happen in your colo, some of them are going to happen at your network edge, and some of them are going to happen at the far edge. And regardless, these use cases don't always run on the same things because the footprints are just different. So being able to take this whole ecosystem and bring it to bear on the full breadth of the ProLiant portfolio, allowing the customers to select the right sized environment to meet their use case, yet still have the same world-class experience across it, is really where I think the proof is at.
Awesome, awesome. Look, exciting times ahead.
Indeed.
Again, I can't thank you enough for all that you've been doing for the partnership.